everyone, and thank you for joining into this talk. My name is Nachtegaele. I'm a business intelligence manager at Bleckmann for around 2 years now. Before that, I was IT project manager, also at Bleckmann for 2.5 years. So that's a bit of my background. The BI team is currently a team of 6 people. We have 2 data engineers and 4 business analysts. But we're rapidly growing. 2 years ago, it was only 2 people and myself. So during this presentation, I'm going to give a quick introduction of Bleckmann. I'll talk about the business case, data application landscape, how we set up our Matillion, and what we learned out of it. So who is Bleckmann? Bleckmann is a market leader in fashion and lifestyle logistics. It's a 3PL with a strong base in Europe, expanded to the US and Asia. There's over 4,000 team members, over 25 DC locations. And below you can see a bit of a roadmap on the history of Bleckmann. We used to be a company called Speed, then that was rebranded to Bleckmann. So Bleckmann provides end-to-end supply chain management solutions. So they provide multimodal solutions, freight, warehousing and value-added services, omni-channel distribution, and also reverse logistics, so returns. And on top of that, there are custom solutions like import, export, but also bonded warehousing. They're situated mostly in Europe, over 25 DC locations. There's 2 warehouses in the UK as well. And then there's one in North America, and we have a couple of partners in Asia. A couple of our customers that you may know are Superdry, Abercrombie & Fitch, Gymshark, Patagonia, and there's lots of others, as you can see. But let's now jump into the business case. So, aim that we had to start this project was the use of data silos. As many of you may know, that comes with a lot of downsides and limitations. Bleckmann has a lot of different source systems, as you can see on the left, and a lot of the times data is being extracted from those source systems. With tools like Tableau and Excel, also CSVs, and those are then being transformed into dashboards, into insights in a very siloed and manual way. Tools that are used for this are, for example, also Tableau Prep. The issue with this is that it generates a lot of loads on the source systems, because you each time get the same data out of it. There's no single source of truth, because each person may export this in his own way, using his own definitions, and that can give conflicting information. The extraction tools, these are great tools, but aren't really optimized to do big data loads, data extractions and transformations. And that can have a big impact on the project life cycle. So if you need to do some changes in your project, it can take a lot of time to rerun the entire process of extraction and transformation, which isn't ideal for your projects. And then there's also the issue of having to recreate all of those pipelines all over again from source to end for each different use case. So this is our first use case. we did a pilot for Belgium and Netherlands to automate the cost control for warehousing reports. So that's a profit and loss statement, which shows revenues, costs, EBITDA and EBIT for each warehouse within a certain period of time. So by automating this, we were able to, or we wanted to be able to let financial controllers analyze data instead of losing a lot of time collecting everything. This dashboard is built up from a lot of different sources. It's being calculated bottom up. So all activities within the warehouse can result in a revenue stream, and all people working there and batching in different activities can have a cost. And then there's also additional costs, which are more financial, like property, security, things like that. And all of those together form this dashboard for each different site. And in order to do that, we went on the market and did a bit of a software selection. So we looked into data warehouses, into data warehouse automation, so tools that generate code to be executed on the data warehouse, and in ELT tools. Things that were important for us were scalability. We wanted to be able to start small and do that pilot without having to do a very big investment in advance. Also, the amount of training and technical skills needed were important to us. And there were also some other criteria, of course. For example, the impact on the source systems, and also which source system that could be integrated. So we did a pre-selection on that, narrowed it down to these tools. And then we did a couple of proof of concepts on top of them. And eventually we chose a combination of Snowflake, Voltspeed, and Matillion. To do this case, we needed to implement a couple of different sources. These are just data sources for the pilot warehouses. So we have Manhattan Associated PKMS. It's a WMS, warehouse management system. And we have a workforce management system from the Netherlands, SAP HANA, and some Excel sources with data that doesn't reside within systems. For the second warehouse, we needed those two as well. And also workforce management system of Belgium, and Prairie, which is now called Blue Yonder Dispatcher. That's also WMS. These are just the systems for the pilots. Manhattan, so the PKMS, those are actually 7 instances with Bleckmann, running on IBM iSeries. The workforce management system is a SQL Server instance. The workforce management in Belgium is a software as a service, which is being accessed with SOAP. And the Red Prairie, those are 2 instances on Oracle. So we needed an ETL tool that could connect to all of those different types of systems, which Matillion could. And together with Snowflake, we were able to gather data out of all of those systems. By now, not only of those system for the pilot, but also the others. And so those are all integrated by now. That data is then being visualized within Tableau to show the cost control KPI dashboards, which is something that's being used by the finance department. So the data application landscape that we're using was designed by DataSense, or integration partner. On the left hand, you have different source systems. Those are currently being loaded in batch to Snowflake. Then they end up in a raw vault, which is generated. It's a data vault 2.0, which is generated with a vault speed code. We're using DevOps to get the vault speed code to Snowflake within stored procedures, and also to Matillion for flow management control jobs. And then on top of that, data vaults, and there's a business vault. And next to that, we have a presentation layer, which is being built in Kimball. And then next to that, we have Tableau, which connects to that presentation layer. And there we can build our reports on top of that on our enterprise data warehouse. Then below, we also have an operational vault, which is the latest version of the raw vault, which can be used to access with APIs, but also for other use cases like advanced analytics. That's more something for the future. So what does our Matillion setup look like? These flow management control jobs are source oriented. So there's one for each source. First, we have a data extraction step. Then we create some flow management control metadata, so we can see what has run, and when did it start, when did it end, was it successful, and all things like that. You can see a detail of that here below. Then there are some there's the extraction layer, staging layer, and prep delete, after which the data vault components are being loaded. Everything is here done with error handling. And on the end, you have the business vaults and also the presentation layer jobs that are being run. On the error handling, we added some other things. One of our data engineers came up with the idea to write the Matillion snapshot summary table to Snowflake and create a Tableau dashboard on top of that. This is connected to an alert. So each time one of the jobs that you can see here has failed, then the guys get an email. So they can act on it and resolve the issue. There's also a small graph on job durations to see if anything is out of the ordinary. So this job on the top left, it's using the API query profile, which is standard in Matillion. So if we then look at future possibilities, there's other sources on the planning, not only Bleckmann internal sources, but we also want to look with our partners, for example, customer WMSs, to integrate those as well. And also other sources, more public, like demographics, traffic, weather data. Something we're heavily investigating right now is real-time integration. We want to look into CDC and see if we can get our data near real-time instead of in daily batch loads. Other dashboards because we're building an enterprise data model in that Kimball, just for this one use case, but we will be able to plug in other use cases on that. Then there's also data sharing we want to investigate, and data apps. Okay, so data apps, we feel like there's a lot of information within businesses that's not always being registered within systems. It doesn't fit in them, or maybe the transformation isn't complete yet. The key lessons that we learned from this was focus on business implementation. By doing that, you can improve the chance of adoption and maximize the chance of realizing the expected benefits that you initially estimated in your business case. And this can generate traction and management buy-in. Second thing is stay true to chosen data warehouse design. We chose for Data Vault 2.0. It can be tempting to just integrate something and take shortcuts, but in the long term, it pays off to stay true to your choice. And then the last one, start small and give your team room to adapt. And this is something I'm very proud of. My team really was able to adapt. And they did it really great in learning all that new stuff and looking for a way to work and deliver projects within the new stack. All right, so in this talk, we talked a bit about the business case that we made, about the software selection, the solution that we created with the help of our implementation partner. And the future and the challenges that we were able to overcome. I hope it was useful. If you have any other questions, feel free to send them to my email address, which is on the slide. Thank you all for joining.